This is 8 Channel News at 6.
Good evening. It wasn't supposed to happen this year. London police, Fanshawe College, and elected leaders have worked hard to prevent drunken student mayhem on London's infamous Fleming Drive. But partiers were out of control again over the weekend, and Derek Rogers joins us live with more on what the officials are now planning to do. Derek?
That's right, Kathy. It's quiet here right now, but on weekends, this is Party Central. And on most nights, that probably would be okay. After all, it's mostly student housing in behind me here. But what started out as a few drinks and some loud music quickly degenerated into a near riot, and it has many wondering what, if anything, can be done to bring partiers under control. Clean up on Thurman Circle. Broken lawn furniture, bottles, and garbage, all testament to a wild weekend party. More disturbing, blood on a wall and slash marks from a broken bottle on the neck of one of the partiers. He says the ugly gash was inflicted by one of his friends. He's not talking, but another friend says the neighborhood's bad reputation isn't deserved.
I don't think there's a problem. I think everyone's having a good time and showing some school spirit around Thurman. And I think it's really good that we have parties like this. Not as destructive as some may think it is. It's just all in good fun.
But just a block away on Fleming Drive, good fun spun out of control Saturday night.
It wasn't some of the biggest parties I've ever seen, but there were definitely a lot of cops, and it became mayhem after that.
Partiers in a crowd of hundreds throw beer bottles at police who are responding to reports of a serious assault. Officers use a taser to subdue a 21-year-old man. They arrest several others. Despite all the publicity surrounding a police crackdown on out-of-control partiers, it happened again. Another incident. It's frustrating for those working to prevent trouble here. People like London Police Chief Murray Faulkner. He says it's time to look beyond policing for measures to control students' behavior.
Because of the freedom of information that prohibits me from calling up their mom and dad who lives in Toronto and has no idea that their son and daughter was ever involved in this melee, that whole anonymity is a plus for the students, but is detrimental to really having consequences to their actions.
Fanshawe College administrators say they're disappointed. In a statement today, college officials and the student union outlined their plan of attack. They promised to visit problematic addresses or students to lay down the law. The team will contact landlords to discuss whether to involve parents, and student union representatives will hand out flyers to student homes in the area.
We just have to keep a focus on it and continue with our efforts, and this time really targeting those areas and those addresses and those students, if in fact it is students living there, to really try to get engaged with them to help them understand what a problem this is creating for them and for us.
And Bernice Hall says the incident comes at a time when on-campus behavior has improved compared to other years. Now, as for her part, Mayor Anne-Marie DeSico says that she wants students to feel welcome, but she also wants those who are witnessing bad behavior to pressure others who are the offenders. She wants them to stop. The mayor says that peer pressure is a far more effective tool than simply policing or any other city measure.
Yeah, she could be right. All right. Thanks very much, Derek. Well, many who live in the area where the out-of-control partying occurred likely aren't surprised by what happened over the weekend. For them, dealing with large and loud parties has become a way of life almost every weekend of the school year. Now, one member of City Council is conceding the neighborhood has been taken over by students. And Scott Lightfoot is live on Fleming Drive with more on that. Scott?
Well, Kathy, what happened here on Saturday night was not the norm, but what has become the norm isn't good either. To get a first-hand look at what happens after dark, we rode along with the London Police Service's Project Learn on Friday night, and this is what we saw.
10:30 and it's already like this, huh?
For the officers of the core unit, the first Friday in September is guaranteed to be a busy one. Thousands of young people getting a first taste of life away from home and impacting the lives of those around them.
It seems that they're really starting to catch on as to the reasons that we're out there and sort of the impact that certain behaviors have on the communities around them.
One of the most obvious problems in this neighborhood is the noise. Music so loud that occupants can't even hear the officer at the door telling them to keep it down. For those who live here, it will cost $105, but for those who live near here, it means another sleepless night. One neighbor, too afraid to show his face on camera, says he's tried to deal directly with his neighbors.
They was tell me, if you don't want to live here, f***ing moving out here. I told them, I called the cop, I say, This is my property. I own it. I pay the tax. I work. I pay the tax. You're not supposed to say me like that. Mary Visico, you better do something.
The mayor wasn't out on this night, but two city politicians were, getting a first-hand look at the frontline officers who make up Project Learn.
People who live in the Fleming Drive area say every year the number of families in this neighborhood decreases while the number of students increases. And at least one member of City Council says it may be time to accept the fact that this is a student neighborhood.
And I think, quite frankly, 99% of the people are students there now. As much as I hate to admit it, I think probably families are going to find a better place to live because the students have taken over the entire neighborhood.
Personally, I think it's kind of funny that families would be living here as well because it's like students, families, then students, families. Like every night it's the same kind of thing around here. Like everyone's always partying, everyone's always going nuts, and the families are always complaining about the students. If you're going to complain about the students, why wouldn't you go to another neighborhood that doesn't have so many students in it?
Alright, so there it is. So now you're both getting a ticket.
On this Friday night in this neighborhood, open alcohol violations are as common as trees. Some try to toss their drinks when spotted by police.
This is one beer.
Others take the $125 ticket with attitude.
Right now you're under arrest for bail, for breaching your bail conditions and misleading police.
For one man, having open alcohol turned out to be a violation of a prior release condition and meant an immediate arrest. There are broken bottles littering most of the streets here and garbage strewn around the area. Several people are ticketed for urinating in public. Contrary to the beliefs of some student leaders, police say the project isn't aimed at students, but rather aimed at behavior.
Whether or not the people we deal with are students, are homeowners, are working people, or what, makes absolutely no difference to us. It's the behaviors that we're targeting.
Now, we can tell you that between Wednesday and Saturday, police laid 184 charges as part of Project Learn. 91% of those people charged were students. Now, both of the politicians who were out on Friday night alongside the camera person and I said they were incredibly impressed with the professionalism of the police department. We can tell you that all members of City Council have been invited to ride along with Project Learn this year. So far, only 2 councillors and 2 controllers have taken the police up on that offer. However, some politicians have gone out in previous years. Kathy?
All right, thanks very much for that, Scott. The driver of a motorcycle is in critical condition after a crash just north of Watford this morning.